Hi, what's up? My name is Adam, and you are on Cyber Raccoon channel. Today I'm going to tell you about the best single-player third-person shooters. Watch the video to the end, subscribe our channel, and you will always be aware of what to play today. Gears of War. A series of fantastic shooters that everyone has heard of. At the moment, the first and fourth parts are available for PC. Moreover, the Ultimate Edition is available for computers, a prettier version of the legendary third-person shooter, in which we have to, as a fearless warrior, veteran and hero of many battles, enter into a grandiose battle with an endless horde of space conquerors. Mass Effect. Half shooter, half role-playing game, and the advantage is probably still in the direction of the second aspect. Nevertheless, we included it in our selection. Shootouts in Mass Effect turned out to be feast for the eyes, cute, dynamic, giving a lot of pleasure for the eyes and fingers. So no cheating, there is a proper quantity and quality of shooting here. Max Payne. A classic in its purest form, each part of which is a small masterpiece both in terms of the gameplay and in terms of the development of the plot. Even today, it is difficult to say unequivocally which of the three parts is the best, and in fact they are separated by decades. Vanquish. Extremely driving and entertaining new generation game with a fantastic setting. To say that Vanquish is a dynamic and very beautiful game with a lot of different opponents and bosses, endowed with empathetic and quick-witted AI, as well as offering many unusual combat mechanics, is to say nothing. Virtually every one of these elements brings with it a revolution for the world of video games. In general, Vanquish is a game that is worth trying not only for shooter fans, but for all gamers in general. A game with a huge open world and incredible freedom in choosing tactics and means to complete each of the impressive number of missions present here. In addition to the stealth mechanics that form the basis of the gameplay, the Phantom Pain has a place for a completely full-fledged shooting. Grand Theft Auto 5. Starting with the third part, the GTA series moved to full-fledged 3D and gained phenomenal fame among gamers, which only increased with each subsequent game. And today GTA 5 is one of the best third-person shooters on PC, and one of the most popular sandbox games. And for those who like to play in a company with live players, there is even a GTA Online multiplayer mode, which we will discuss below. Mafia. Probably the best story-driven action game, at least the first two parts, on a criminal theme, which should definitely be tried out by fans of games about the Mafia and bandits. After all, it was the stunningly believable setting that made Mafia, the city of lost heaven, iconic, and those who is looking for games similar to GTA. Quantum Break. Another fantastic shooter, this time from Remedy Entertainment, originally planned as an Xbox One exclusive, but eventually making its way to the PC. In our opinion, this is one of the most entertaining and stylish third-person action games. Yes, perhaps, and not only from the third. But beyond the ultra-modern graphics and fanatical special effects, Quantum Break has a lot to offer. First, it is a dashingly twisted, non-linear storyline that matches the standards of science fiction. The developers even used a very unusual, unique storytelling technique, including a mini-series with famous actors in the game. The series is available for viewing by separate chapters of Quantum Break, and the development of events in it will depend on the decisions made by the player. Secondly, the gameplay itself, in which, in addition to exciting skirmishes, the ability to manipulate time, represented by the supernatural abilities of the protagonist, is successfully implemented. Hitman. A series of games about the most stylish and charming hitman in the world, going far beyond the usual TPS. It has a long and glorious history, an army of many thousands of fans, and, most likely, is already well known to you. Therefore, let's move on to the next game from our top. Lost Planet. The famous series of sci-fi shooters, the events of which develop in extreme conditions on a dying planet, where nature itself is rebelling against the colonists, turning the local nature and fauna against them. In addition to the excellent design of the planet and an exciting plot, Lost Planet pleases with an abundance of high-tech weapons, sophisticated AI, a large number of different mechanisms, and devices available for manipulation that affect the gameplay and, finally, the presence of an unusual transport, an armored suit, because of which the game can be recommended to fans games about manned robots. Binary Domain. Fantastic third-person shooter with RPG elements and support for multiplayer mode in which players will take part in battles with humans and robots on the streets of futuristic Tokyo. Just Cause. The third part of this series has repeatedly appeared in our various collections, so this time we decided to draw your attention to all three parts of the Just Cause series. This is especially true for owners of weak PCs who do not have the opportunity to enjoy all the beauties of the tropical island from Just Cause 3. By the way, fans of multiplayer modes can download a special mod for the second and third parts of the series. Saints Row. Another well-known series of crime games. But in contrast to the gloomy and harsh surroundings, Kane Lynch has an obvious bias towards cheerful recklessness, banter and frenzy. How can Saints Row games please? Intense gameplay, constantly going beyond TPS, a high degree of freedom, memorable and not boring, sometimes funny, and sometimes just a shocking plot with dozens of the brightest characters, exciting tasks and many additional entertainments scattered across a huge metropolis living its own life. Kane Lynch. An ambiguous story about the adventures of two notorious villains, an unprincipled psycho and a dark mercenary, spilled as a bomb on the souls of players hungry for cruel, not constrained by the bounds of fake morality and decency to criminal action games. Robbing and killing, and even feeling next to the shoulder of the same reckless companion, subject to attacks of aggression, this is not too tricky gameplay offered by two parts of Kane Lynch. Nevertheless, some players manage to discern a kind of subtle psychologism and tragedy behind such a rough wrapper. Red Faction, Armageddon. TPS with a fantastic setting, which came as a pleasant surprise for many players after the controversial Red Faction, Guerrilla. Events still take place on Mars, the game has a lot of weapons, a system of perks, a new threat on a planetary scale, and a total destructible environment. In general, everything for which we fell in love with the series. Ghost Recon. A series of tactical shooters under the patronage of Ubisoft, dedicated to the adventures of a squad of elite fighters ghosts. Each part offers players its own setting, usually close to the principles of modern warfare. Often, the plot also takes players into the near future. An important feature is that almost every part of the Ghost Recon series supports multiplayer or co-op. The series also features a large number of classes of fighters, an impressive arsenal of weapons and upgrades available to it, a flexible difficulty system, and companies, and a realistic shooting system. Rogue Trooper Redux. A re-release of one of the best third-person shooters on PC just couldn't get past our selection, and we strongly recommend that you familiarize yourself with this project if it has previously escaped your attention. If the resources of your PC do not allow you to do this, you can always use the original version of Rogue Trooper 2006. Sleeping Dogs. Incendiary third-person shooter with an open world and an interesting storyline, the gameplay of which will take players into the wilds of the criminal jungle of Hong Kong. In addition to hurricane gunfights and frantic pursuits on cool cars, there are about 80 types of transport in Sleeping Dogs. The game has a unique system of hand-to-hand combat based on real types of mixed martial arts. Cruel and cool, perhaps these are the words that can describe everything that happens in Sleeping Dogs. Resident Evil. The cult series of survival horror about zombies, which in the presented three parts departed quite far from the original concept laid down by Shinji Mikami, and received a tangible appendage of TPS. This is especially felt in Resident Evil 6, which many fans unambiguously ranked as action games. In general, if you like zombies and shooting, then the proposed games will definitely please you. Sniper Elite. A series of tactical military shooters with a very rich gameplay and interesting versatile missions, ranging from silent eliminations and all kinds of sabotage to meat mixes with fireworks, explosions and firing at numerous live targets. Moreover, each mission in the games of the Sniper Elite series, this is especially true for the last two parts, has a non-linear passage. Finally, the main advantage of Sniper Elite is a realistic simulation of the sniper profession and an accurate recreation of all the nuances associated with it. Total Overdose. A searing third-person action game released in 2005 for PC and consoles, incorporating the very best from hit projects such as Max Payne and GTA, and successfully complemented by many of the developers' own ideas from Deadline Games. And plus to all this, it has a pronounced, one might even say, hypertrophied Mexican flavor. For Max Payne, the game took over the driving and stylish shootouts with an advanced slow-mo system and a plot typical of criminal action games, stuffed to the eyeballs with villains and traitors of all stripes. Even boss fights are present here. And from GTA, this Mexican zest was awarded a colorful open world, albeit not so complicated, but still offering many decent ways to have fun. Stranglehold. A cinematic third-person shooter with acclaimed director John Woo. Moreover, the events of the game are a continuation of the movie Hard Boiled, filmed by the director in 1992. So fans of the bloody and spectacular Hong Kong action movies will definitely love Stranglehold. The gameplay is a feverish alternation of gunfights with acrobatic stunts in linear locations rapidly replacing each other, literally bursting with the number of enemies. At the end of each of the locations, players will meet with a boss. Spectacularly staged shooting, a dozen different types of weapons, good destructibility of the environment, 4 abilities of the protagonist, making his life easier in the most difficult situations, and the presence of the slow-mo mode are the key features of Stranglehold. Dead Space is amazingly good. Yes, the ideas of the game overlap in many ways with BioShock and Resident Evil 4, but they are presented organically and unobtrusively. The player is immersed in an amazingly detailed universe, already backed up by comics and a cartoon, and then released into free swimming. Let Isaac find his hope, make his way by hook or by crook to salvation, and finally scare him. Spec Ops, The Line. Rounding out our top is the remarkable military shooter Spec Ops, The Line, offering traditional genre mechanics, elevated to a previously unattainable level of realism and brutality. War without embellishments and false romance, the unique architecture of a ruined city engulfed in war, tactical elements and support for multiplayer mode, and many other advantages await players in Spec Ops, The Line. Subscribe our channel, rate this video and you will always be aware of what to play today.